Hello everyone, I'm Wade, your Cinephile host. I'm sure all of us know that drinking and driving is a big no-no. But have you ever heard of drinking and flying? In the 2012 American drama film Flight, starring Denzel Washington as Captain Whip Whitaker, an alcoholic airline pilot who miraculously crash lands his airplane after mechanical failure, saving nearly everyone on board. If you were a member on board, how would you respond to the alcoholic pilot? Would you thank him or blame him? Let's find out. Airline pilot Captain Whip Whitaker uses cocaine to wake up after a sleepless night in his Orlando hotel room. On their flight to Atlanta, co-pilot Ken Evans is concerned with Captain Whip's decision-making capabilities to control the airplane during a heavy thunderstorm that caused severe turbulence during takeoff. They manage to get through the bad weather, and Whip lets co-pilot Ken take over while he discreetly mixes vodka in his orange juice and takes a nap. But it's not long before he's jolted awake as the plane goes into a steep dive. Unable to regain control, Captain Whip attempts a stunt never before seen.
Full throttle. Can you do that? Okay, when I tell
Wait, sir, what are we doing? Why would I trim down?
we're gonna roll it, okay?
What do you mean roll it?
Gotta do something to stop this dive. Margaret, what's your son's name?
Trevor.
Say I love you, Trevor.
What?
The black box, say I love you, Trevor.
I love you, Trevor. You be a good boy. Mommy loves you.
Okay, here we go. I've got control.
Oh, Lord Jesus!
All right, Evans, flaps.
Flat!
Speed brakes.
Speed brake! Oh!
Margaret, power. Gear up.
Oh, Lord Jesus, we're inverted!
Flying, listen, we're level. We can maintain altitude like this.
Flying upside down bought them some time before crashing. Whip then finds the nearest open field to make a controlled crash landing as to not crash in a populated area. Upon impact, he hits his head and loses consciousness, with only a vague memory of moments being rescued off the plane. He later awakes in the Atlanta hospital with moderate injuries and a familiar face, an old friend, Charlie Anderson, to greet him. Charlie represented the airline's pilot union. He informs Whip that he had managed to save 96 lives out of the 102 that were on board, losing 2 crew members and 4 passengers. With his co-pilot in a coma, Whip later sneaks away for a cigarette and meets Nicole Magan, a heroin addict recovering from a recent overdose in the very same hospital.
Chemo brain. Makes you pretty foggy.
Yeah?
They call it chemo brain. My mama, she used to slur her words and get all chatty.
Mom had cancer.
Breast cancer, she was only 54.
Is that why you think you're gonna die?
Heroin addicts who use needles, they tend to die. Especially women, for some reason. I read that in a pamphlet.
The next morning, his friend and drug dealer Harley Mays picks him up from the hospital. Retiring to his late father's farm, Whip meets Charlie and attorney Hugh Lang, who explains that the National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, performed a drug test while he was unconscious. Results showed that Whip was intoxicated during the flight. This meant that the prosecutor would place blame on Whip, not unless they could get the toxicology report void on technical grounds, which they succeeded in doing. All they required from Whip was to remain sober during this period.
Here's the deal. Abington Carr, he's the owner of the airline. He's on our side. He's got big friends in Washington, too. He wants to have a sit-down with us tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
Good.
Yeah. You can't drink, Captain. You're under the microscope right now. You can't be seen buying liquor. That means no bars, no drugs.
I understand. I won't drink, I promise you.
Look, we can get you help.
I don't need help. I won't drink, I promise you.
Though Whip promises he wouldn't drink anymore, it wasn't before long that his addiction got the best of him. He just couldn't stay away from the alcohol and drugs. outsmarting everyone who was trying to look out for him. Prior to the hearing, Whip and Nicole became intimate and shared support for each other's struggles. However, Whip's drinking habits clashed with Nicole's attempt to stay drug-free. Later, he attended a funeral for Katerina, a flight attendant who passed away during the crash, whom Whip had spent the night with before the incident. Whip sees a surviving crew member, Margaret, and asks her to lie to the NTSB, telling them that he was sober. And Whip then pays a visit to his co-pilot, Ken Evans, after he had awakened from his coma. Evans is likely to lose much of his ability to walk and may never pilot an airplane again. Although upset, Evans had no intention of telling the NTSB that Whip was drinking due to his respect for him as a pilot. However, Nicole has had it and decides to separate from Whip after he failed to stay sober.
You need help. You need rehab, Whip.
You think I need rehab? So you go to 2 AA meetings, I need rehab. Okay. Hey, look, don't do it. Jesus Christ, don't worry about me, okay? You just worry about yourself. Don't worry about me.
We're the same, you and me.
No, we're not the
Yeah,
same.
we are.
Having been disappointed by Nicole, Whip drives to the home of his ex-wife and son, but both of them resented him as well. The media hounded him and caught Whip drunk after he got out of the house. So, the only way to keep Whip out of trouble was for him to stay with Charlie until the NTSB hearing, during which Whip vows not to drink again. The night before the hearing, Charlie and Hugh moved Whip to a guarded hotel room, removing all the alcoholic beverages beforehand. Although his minibar is empty, he finds the door to an adjacent room unlocked, and the temptation was too great for him. Whip is discovered by Charlie the next morning, passed out and completely drunk. Ironically, the only way they knew how to revive him was to call on Harling to use cocaine to wake him up.
What time is it?
We got 45 minutes, okay?
Well, how much grace do you think we got?
Grace? Ellen Block? We're gonna get some fucking grace?
Well, we probably got an hour before we really got to get him downstairs.
Okay, great. Well, let's just get a wheelchair and wheel his ass into the hearing.
Oh, Harlan Mays, man. Oh, Harlan's got a wheelchair?
We got cocaine.
Cocaine?
At the hearing, lead NTSB investigator Ellen Block explains that a damaged elevator assembly jack screw was the primary cause of the crash. She commends Whip on his valor and skill, noting that no other pilot was able to land the plane in trial simulations of the crash. She then reveals that 2 empty vodka bottles were found in the plane's trash, despite beverages not being served to passengers, and that Whip's blood test was excluded for technical reasons. She then states the only other member of the crew to test positive for alcohol was Katerina. At the defining moment of this hearing, Whip pauses, unable to bring himself to blame Katerina for his actions. He collects himself and comes clean, admitting to being intoxicated the day of the crash. But he didn't stop there. He also admits to his current drunken state. 13 months later, an imprisoned Whip, lecturing a support group of fellow inmates, says that he is glad to be sober and doesn't regret doing the right thing.
It was as if I had reached my lifelong limit for lies. I could not tell one more lie. And maybe I'm a sucker. Because if I had told just one more lie, I could have walked away from all that mess, kept my wings, kept my false sense of pride.
Whip is seen looking at pictures of Nicole, family, and friends on the wall of his cell, along with greeting cards congratulating him on his first anniversary of being sober. He's working to rebuild his relationship with his son, who visits to speak with him about a college application essay he's working on. It's about the most fascinating person that I've never met. His son begins by asking, "Who are you?" As a plane flies overhead, Whip replies, "That's a good question." What a plot twist at the end. They had pulled it off. Captain Wood had gotten away with it. So the real question is, why would someone throw all of that away at the very end? I'm reminded of a phrase that I believe was the motivation for Whip's decision, and that is, the truth will set you free. Whip finally chose to confront his struggles and do his time. It was only then he truly experienced freedom. Hey Ruby, do you drink?
Well, occasionally, never when I'm on duty though.
上班时候确实不适合喝酒精饮料，多多少少会影响工作的表现。
Cannot agree with you more. 电影中的主角是一位 alcoholic pilot， 酒精成瘾的机长，许多人对他这个习惯很不赞同。
Drunk driving through the sky， 在天空酒驾，确实感觉很危险。
Yeah. Hey Wade, do you know how to describe the different levels of drunkenness?
Why don't you tell us?
Sure. So starting off, we have tipsy, 微醺，也就是喝了一点点，有点飘飘然，就可以用这个词来形容。
Oh, a lot like the word merry.
Yes. 不过 merry 更常用来指 jolly and full of high spirits.
很嗨的意思。And what comes next?
Well, next comes drunk. 这个字大家已经非常熟悉了吧？ But do you know other synonyms?
People say wasted 表示喝酒非常醉。
Yes. Or you can also say hammered. If you drink to that point, get ready for a hungover morning.
Yep. Never a wise idea to do that.
饮酒要适量，还有千万不要 drive under influence 哦。
没错。Well, I'm Wade.
I'm Ruby.
I hope you have learned something useful in this episode of Cinephile as I did. You can find more on the FUNDAY website.
Let's make every day a fun day.
You have to say that it was an ordinary day, Margaret. I mean, it was an ordinary day. You know me, I was in shape to fly. And, you have a problem saying that?
It's a lie, Whip. It's a lie. Trina told me you two hadn't been to sleep.
Well, my lack of sleep had nothing to do with that plane falling apart, Margaret. I'm just trying to get this thing straight. Now, you think any other pilot could have landed that plane and saved more lives?
I didn't say that, Whip. I can't imagine another pilot doing it.
Imagine your son, Trevor, in this church looking at you in that box. Or my son visiting me in prison and
Please,
for the next 40
Whip,
years.
Enough, Whip. Don't you think we've all had enough?
I need this, Margaret.
What do you want me to say?